it's been a long time, but welcome back to Ether. This is Tommy and Paul from sakaso.ca. So we had a long break. I don't know, maybe it's almost 2 months.
Month and a half or something.
Months,
I don't know. Yeah.
But it was a nice break.
Mm.
And thank you for letting us have that break. We've been, I guess, pushing a little too much, so we just stopped pushing and okay, we got take a break and then here we are. We came back. So yeah, thank you for being patient and thank you for joining us again. So today, episode whatever the number it is,
87.
87.
Mm-hmm.
So and our focus is negative self-talk.
Mm-hmm.
So putting the negative self-talk to the end, right? And that so you are not talking to yourself negatively, and then you can empower yourself. So that's our focus. How we're gonna do it? We're gonna going one step at a time, but you wanna cover some basic stuff.
Okay.
Question and comments.
Yeah, sure. So let's. Oh yeah, sure. Yeah. Question and comments are always welcome, of course. It enhances the conversation here, and we've already got one here. We got Scott saying hello. Thanks, Scott. Good to see you, as always. Yeah, so let's dive in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So negative self-talk. We can say we all have that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we know it's not helping us,
Mm-hmm.
but we still have it,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that's just always there.
Mm.
That's what negative self-talk is. And some people try to get rid of it, and some people are successful, some people are not, and some people are somewhere in between the process of it. So, but it can get frustrated, and but so understanding how it works is it's the key for most of the things, right? Understand the enemy, then you can deal with it. You know how to, you can come up with a strategy, right? So understanding what it is and how to deal with it, you can figure out. Everybody has kind of different. Everybody's different, right? Same as everything else like that. It's not like a one size fit all solution. Here you are, you do this, and then 100%. Who doesn't matter who you do this strategy, it works 100% in a week. So kind of, if there's such a thing, that would be great, but it's not that. Everybody is different. We're complicated beings. So, but we're gonna try to come up with somewhere general and some like a modified version. Maybe you can do this or you can do that kind of thing. So we'll try to cover general thing and cover some different way of taking it on, right? So let's say let's start with negative self-talk. What is it?
Mm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
What is it?
Mm-hmm. So that's what you're saying. It's like you want to know what enemy it is that you're facing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. So what is it? It's the quiet, very quiet voice that's in your background talking to you lots of times, constantly, and it's sometimes it's loud actually, right? Sometimes it's loud, and lots of times it's quiet, and it's in the background, so it turns into your background music, and then you are actually really not aware it's playing the music anymore, right? You're focusing on this conversation that's happening in front, the person in front of you, right? So you think that's the conversation, but in the background, it's the background music. The negative self-talk is always playing like crazy, and that is the negative self-talk, and that's scary. You don't, because you don't pay attention. You are not aware. Most of the time, you're not aware, right? If you became aware, great, then you can do something, right? The first stage is most of us is not aware, and if you are still at the first stage, you want to get to the next stage 2, you are aware, and then you can do something, right? So
almost everything that we talk about, awareness is the first step,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So this is another example of that. Yeah,
So
and
because
for good reason.
yeah, because it's quiet. Sometimes even if it's loud, you are used to hearing it, right? You're used to hearing the background music, which is negative self-talk. You used to hear it, so if you're hearing it all the time, you kind of become numb to it, right? And then you don't hear it anymore. It becomes just part of the air, right? And so you don't hear it anymore, but it's affecting you all the time, 24/7. And so our first step is becoming aware, and so you can go to the stage 2, and then you can take some action, right? So how to be aware, that's the tricky part. That's why we are not aware. So how to be aware, there's lots of ways to become aware, but maybe I can ask you. So you had lots of negative self-talk that you said. What would be an example? Probably lots of different ways you became aware of, maybe one by one. But is there like a specific or something that stands out that you did this, or something happened and you became aware, or it's just gradually you were?
It's been a step-by-step process, and yeah, I think I can. For me, when I gain awareness in this one area, for me it hasn't been that it applies across everything automatically. Right. Maybe raising my awareness here helps kind of bring it up a little bit in other areas, and if I get awareness and raise my awareness in another area, again it raises a little bit more in the other ones. Maybe that's happening, but what I can say for sure is that it's been so like a stepwise process. So that the first one I would say, there's lots of ones I can point to, but the first one I would say is when I was really in a difficult situation before we met. All my relationships were very difficult at that point. I'd gone through life situation changes, divorce, and there was a lot of difficult things coming out of my family. I'll just kind of leave it there. Me, I tend to fight. right? I tend to,
Mm-hmm.
I have a, that's what I tend to do. And so
Mm-hmm.
I was fighting against those things. I was
Mhm.
fighting against the voices, like the self-talk, right? I was fighting.
What do you mean fighting?
I was fighting against self-talk. Like I was like, I don't want to think like that a little bit. But I was also like very much fighting in terms of resisting
So
the things that are going on around me.
what do you mean? Can you be specific? So you
Well,
are fighting because you were aware of that?
no, it's just fighting because I didn't like the situation,
Okay.
right? So things were
So
happening. Things were happening that were unpleasant. I was getting the raw end of a lot of deals, and I was resentful of that. I was fighting against it, and
so that or is the negative self-talk coming in?
self-talk came in like in that situation was like my my resentment towards the people that were involved.
Mm-hmm.
Be like, how dare they do these kind of things? Don't they know how wrong it is? How can they possibly feel that way about me? How can they say those things about me? All those things. So I'd have that ruminating in my mind
Mm-hmm.
of like on a too often. I don't know how often, but too often, and I'm fighting, and I feel awful about it. I couldn't do things to change their approach, so I was kind of stuck with it.
So like a negative self-talk in that situation is like they don't like me.
Yeah,
I don't like them. We
Yeah.
don't get along.
yeah,
You even if you don't hear the specific phrases, that's the what do you call it? It's implied in without you repeating those things. It's already there, like a negative self-talk. They don't like me, and then they hate me,
hmm
and they are mad at me.
yeah. And I'd be like, always, I would always be wondering, like, why would, how could they possibly do that? Why would they not see me for who I am? Don't they, aren't they interested in changing in any way at all? No, 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 no. So it was very, very frustrating,
Mm-hmm.
and it was very traumatic to me. So I would ruminate about that stuff. I had other things going on, negative self-talk about myself, and I'll maybe talk about that later at the same time. But those things were coincident. But the one I became aware of, I guess, had a kind of epiphany at one point. Was that as I was just grinding it over in my head, I just realized at some point, like, there is no way I can get across to these people and change their minds. They were committed to being, no matter what it was I offered as an alternative, as a counter argument, nothing. So they were just double down, triple down, all the way down. So it was a no-win scenario. So at one point I just realized this is not helping. Me ruminating about it and resenting them and resisting them. The resistance was what the problem was for me, and I had to. It had to be a different way. So I thought about it. I was like, and that was like this. Light went off. So instead of going down the same track of resisting, it was like, wait a minute. They're not going to change. I know that now. So I'm suffering as a result of grinding over this situation. What if I were to do that differently? Is there something I can do differently? And what I realized was I needed that I could improve the situation. Perhaps, maybe give it a try, is to forgive them. Right? So if I forgive them, then all of that past stuff, I can let it go.
Okay, so
right? I don't need to carry it around anymore.
So I want to come back to negative self-talk. So again, negative self-talk in this situation. Can you give me the example? I kind of filled in, but that was your word. What's negative self-talk?
Um, what to me, what is this negative self-talk in that situation?
In
And
that
that's well,
situation.
that was just like constantly going over the past or being refreshed in the present. Like things would always keep popping up. There's something they're pissed off about, whatever it is. They're unhappy, so they're gonna bring it out. So so the self-talk for me was to, well, like I was saying, is how a lot of the messaging was, how could they not understand me? Why would they not want to
So
work
that's a
with me to improve
question.
it?
If it's a question,
Yeah.
but you're asking the question. Question can be healthy. That's what I think. That's what I think.
Well,
But
in
but
that
the
situation,
if
there
you're
was
not really
I'm not
questioning,
no, not really looking for an answer.
you're just frustrated
Yeah,
and
yeah.
know why they do this, why
Yeah.
do they.
I know there was
It's
no
not
answer.
like
gonna come.
you're not seeking for question. You're
Mhm.
just frustrated and they're doing it again.
Yes.
They're doing it again.
It's the frustration speaking
Right.
in
So
my
it's
mind.
not like you're using
My resentment.
why, but actually you're not really questioning.
Not really. So like I wasn't.
You or like why are they doing this?
Well, I would do that
to-
also. I would do that also at times, right? I would also think about it and try to figure out what it
Okay,
is
but
they're
the
up
negative self-talk part is
to. Is the
why they're
frustration.
doing it, like instead of actually asking and analyzing and thinking and going deep, you were just they're doing it again and doing it again. They're gonna keep doing this. That's they're gonna keep doing this. That's the
Yeah, and I would think about like
self-talk.
something I got to deal with something, right? I lived in the same house, separate suites and all that stuff, but same house. So they're gonna something's happening. They're gonna not be happy. It's a general thing. It was kind of a pattern. So I think about the scenario of like, how am I going to deal with it when they do this? Or maybe they'll do that. Maybe they'll do this. And so I would play out scenarios in my head. It wouldn't help because when it came around to that situation coming up, no plan I could possibly make ever helped. It didn't work. So and thinking about the past, what had just happened, like that was awful. That was wrong. And I can't stand them, right? Like I mean, I can't stand like I never. It was more like just an extreme dislike of what was going on, and I was hurt by their actions, and so I was just rolling over that stuff, right, constantly in my mind. So that kind of negative self-talk was like negative in terms of I will. It wasn't the kind of negative self-talk that says I can't exactly, or unless you could say I can't seem to get through to them.
Yeah.
Right. I guess that was part of it. Yeah. So yeah, it's complicated, but so the only way I realized at about one point that the negative self-talk was not helping. The resistance, it was all tied to resistance in that case. Resisting was not helping, wasn't leading anywhere. So the only way ultimately to me, the way to get past the resistance was to forgive them, right? So, and that took care of the past, and it helped me deal with the stuff in the present as it kept bubbling up. So then I was able to not cycle through all that resistance negative talk, right? So it freed me from that, and that was enormously liberating to me. Like it freed up a lot of energy. Like it's like, holy cow, I had a lot of my life energy tied up in just right, dealing with this stuff. So that was, I guess, I think that's the first one when I started becoming aware, and like that's a type of awareness, right? So that realization, and started looking at things differently. Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, like forgiveness, it is a big one. You cannot just, oh, I became aware, I forgive them. It's a huge exercise.
Yeah.
So, if we go into that, it's going to be another episode.
Yeah.
So,
So I'll just add
one.
one thing, and we can move forward from there. And that is that it wasn't just a one-time forgiveness. So as new stuff came up, I would need to renew that keep practicing. So it was something that was an ongoing practice. Yeah.
Right.
Sorry. Go ahead.
So like a forgiveness, it's really, it's like a, I want to take it as a
separate topic.
Separate topic, cause it like just you can just say forgive them, right? But it is you need to put effort and you need to know how to do it, and all those things we talked about forgiveness in the past. But
in different episodes. Yeah.
If you want to watch those one, go ahead. But forgiveness, it's something that it's a really sacred action, right? And so, and if you're interested in how to do it, watch different episode. But the forgiveness, it's really it. It can stop negative self talk, like forgive other people and forgive yourself, right? That can be one of the keys. But let's come back up to a little more like not so deep. Instead of starting from the deepest end to come up, right? Let's start from the shallow end and going deeper, so we can, instead of going dive into deepest place, we can take steps slowly going in.
Sure.
Right. So like you were saying, I can't. That's one of the typical one, right? I can't do this. I can't do that. That's the typical negative self-talk. Now we have. You might not use the phrase "I can't," right? Like you were saying, and you have the resentment, that feeling, and why they are like this, why they are attacking me, right? But translates into I cannot get through to them. I cannot fix this situation. I cannot make this situation relationship better. Right? That's the translation that you can give it to, right? The phrase that you're having, why they do this, right? So it's in general negative self-talk. You can translate into I can't, right? Most of the time, I'm not sure it's 100% or not, but so I can't. That happens, and the first step, becoming aware. To become aware, you want to listen to the background music. That's the first step. That don't just let it play. You want to pause and listen. You want to create a habit listening, because in that background music there are a whole bunch of stuff that you can break through. And once you start listening to that music, breakthrough is happening. Breakthrough is waiting for you, right? Because that's the secret. That's the whole thing. That's the reason why you are suffering. Reason why you cannot be healthier. Reason why you cannot be successful. You cannot find a great relationship. It's the answer is in there. right? Answer is right in there. That's why you want to start listening. So instead of just letting it play, you're gonna listen, and then the time. There's different ways to listen, but I giving one example is when you feel I can't catch yourself that moment,
Mm-hmm.
right? Oh, I can't do this, right? Instead of just go with it and let yourself not doing it because you think you can. Stop. I said I can't. Why is that,
Mm-hmm.
right? And especially when I can't comes like in split second, right? Even you didn't even think about it. Somebody said something, and then you said, "I can't," right? You didn't have time to think about it.
So what that is an indicator
Yeah,
when that happens, and that answer is already ready, just ready to come
yeah,
out. That's because it is part of the background music.
yeah.
It's already there.
It's already there,
And
already
it's-
to come out.
Yeah, it's just hasn't reached your mouth.
Mhm.
That's it, right? But it's there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when it's instant, I can't. Like you didn't even think about it, right? You can make an excuse. Oh, I thought about it. It's been like this in the past, so I don't even have to think about it. I can't do it,
Mm.
right? Past is past, but yes, our subconscious mind make a great connection to the past to protect us. In the past, this happened, and we didn't succeed, we failed, and we make mistakes, and somebody laughed at me, and those things, and to avoid those things from repeating, subconscious mind trying to protect us, and then the voice comes in, I can't, I can't, I can't, I can't let that happen.
So what you're saying right there, that's very important. You probably want to pull that apart more. It's like that
Okay.
because you said the subconscious mind comes in to protect you.
Mm-hmm.
So you said there's different negative outcomes that have happened in the past,
Mm-hmm.
right? Perhaps
Mm-hmm.
you did try something,
Mm-hmm.
try to get a different job, or
Right.
try to connect with other people
Mhm.
socially or something, right? In
Or
social,
try to stop the negative your family member talking to you negatively and trying to stop.
yeah,
And it made it worse.
it
or
did
something.
every time. Yeah, so
Right. So I can't do this. Right.
so yeah, or even like you just tried to crack a joke in a social situation, right? Anything, right? So
Mm-hmm.
those kind of negative experiences, and then happened in the past, and they you remember them,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then you're there's that voice that can come in at some point and be general and in a general way say I can't make small talk, right? I just don't know how to make small talk,
Mm-hmm.
right? Which is baloney. I mean, it's just a matter of space to get into, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a natural space that people can do,
Mm-hmm.
right? So but and I say baloney, I'm not trying to trivialize it because I was there at one point in my life. I really thought that I couldn't do it, right? I convinced myself that. But I trained myself out of that at some point. It's a little bit, that's another story. But maybe I could look at that one. Actually happened earlier than the one I spoke of. That was a big one. This is a little one. This is a shallow pool one, I guess, maybe.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'd have to think about how I got out of that.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't considered it, so not sure best example today. But anyway, maybe a different time. So what you said, that your subconscious mind comes in to protect you, is so important
Mm-hmm.
because that's the mechanism. That is that's the radio station or something that's, what's a good analogy there? You're going with the background music, right? The radio station is your subconscious mind, and it's playing because its motivation is always to protect, and to protect you from embarrassment, or protect you from
pain,
disappointment, right? Or yeah,
it could be physical pain.
it could be physical pain, whatever the case is. It's always there. Its motivation is to protect you, and but it's not.
It's only
healthy.
based on past,
Mm-hmm.
right? Something happened in the past.
Mm-hmm.
So, like everybody watching this probably know mindfulness, right? Right now, this moment is the only thing that exists. Past, you don't want to live in the past. You can't live in the past. Right now, that's the only moment that you can live, right? But subconscious mind is all the data. It's humongous amount of data that subconscious have, right? That's been carrying like a,
Well, really, it's the entirety of your entire life experience.
every moment of what they said, subconscious mind can process, or conscious mind can process 40 bits of data every second.
Yeah.
Subconscious mind can process 40 million bits of data every second.
That's what's stored in your subconscious mind.
1 million times more than what we think.
For your entire lifetime. So yeah, that's a lot of data.
So that's a lot of data. And then the number one job is to protect us.
Yeah.
Of course we get limited here, and don't touch that, don't step on it, don't look at there, right? It's just we get so limited. Because of that. It has amazing power, right? If it's aligned with empowerment, it's amazing power. But if it's aligned with disempowerment, it can turn into very negative power.
Not to say that subconscious mind is a negative
No,
force for negative.
That's fine.
It's responsible for
neutral
everything, and so much of it is helpful. That's why you can respond to an emergency situation and deal with it, right? Whatever, right? But or just your heart rate will slow down or increase to match your physical exercise. That's your subconscious mind. And all that's good. But this negative stuff can come in too. It's not always good. The overprotective tendency of your subconscious mind comes in and tries to prevent something bad from happening, right? So you were talking about that, and I kind of jumped in there.
You wrapped up. You said.
I just wanted to emphasize that, because you said that. You just said that. Yeah, that
Mm-hmm.
protection, your subconscious mind. I just wanted to bring that out because that is so important to understand. That's the mechanism.
Yeah. And then Scott was mentioning he withdraw, right? And tend to withdraw. That's because you are subconscious mind trying to keep you in a safe area, right? There's no big waves, just staying at the beach where there's no wave, right? Don't go into and then make the wave bigger or something. That's what lots of people do. It's a protection mechanism, right? And
you tend to withdraw, and it's the negative self-talk. Is what you're saying.
Yeah. So the first step is, let's go back to that. First step is listening. Start listening to the voice, the background music. It's playing pretty much all the time, and then the time to catch is again when you said I can't, or something negative about the situation, right? When it comes instantly, split second, you already have the answer, negative answer. I can't do this.
Mm-hmm.
It's not gonna work,
Mm-hmm.
or they're not gonna like me, or whatever that it is. If it comes instantly, that's the negative self-talk that's in the subconscious mind, and it's blocking you,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if it just comes in, and you want to get used to catching that, right? So so that's the negative self-talk, and then you start to be aware. I said that. Okay, I said I can't, and then you catch yourself, right? And the next second, you, like I was gonna say, like you have all the reason why you can't. Well, cause I tried 100 times and it didn't work. Um, I know I can't.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But again, it's in the past. Yes, if you don't do anything, and if you're doing exactly the same thing and repeat over and over and over, exactly the same person, exactly the same environment, and then maybe you're right, but today is a different day, and then the people you're dealing with might be different or might be the same, but the situation or the location or the weather or the people are in a different mood, and all the information is different, all the condition is different, right? So you cannot say you can't just because that's what happened in the past,
Mm-hmm.
right? You don't have confidence, yes, we get that, but you want to separate the past from now. That's first thing you want to do,
Mm-hmm.
right? So catch yourself um, saying that you can't, and then you want to step back. Okay, that I know that's what happened in the past. Is it going to happen this time? Is it guaranteed 100% it's going to happen this time? You want to ask that. You might get different answer. You might not, but that that might be all you need, right? Is that true, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's like some something about your health, and then your health hasn't improved, and then you cannot walk that far or something, right? And maybe that might be still because you're still in the same condition. It's safe to stay that way, but this if that's the case, right? Your physical condition, and then you think you can't, right? Then catch yourself saying that you can't, because just simply saying you can't, it's not helping. It's just disempowering yourself. You can avoid um, saying you can't, and you can just say it in a different way. We did this a lot of times, and I don't know you remember, but when you have so many food allergies and sensitivity, like that's the phrase that you're using. I can't eat this. I can't eat this. I can't eat this.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And that's the reality you are facing.
Mm-hmm.
But you had this exercise.
Semi-reality. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Right. So
Reality in that you
there's so
are
many things I told myself that were
experiencing.
not true.
Yeah.
Right. Like I was afraid to eat almost anything
Mm-hmm.
because I'm sensitive to those types of things, right? Or
Mm-hmm.
something like that. When really that I'm not. Right?
Yeah,
Because
and then
there's a
it's
circumstance and I made a
something,
mistake in
yeah,
the past and
or
I thought it was
something
like that.
unknown
Yeah.
that you don't touch.
Yeah.
Right? I haven't tried that one, so you're just gonna put that food in a category of I can't eat,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or I can't eat that. I can't, and then it was constant,
Mm-hmm.
and it was bothering me a lot. Why do you have to say that? Like I can't. Okay, so it was bothering me, and then we came to an agreement that you are not gonna say that, right?
Mm-hmm.
I can't eat,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so you agreed, you like that idea. Like I can't is disempowering.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter what you are saying, it's disempowering. And so just simply, you don't have to say you can. Simply, I'm not eating that today,
Mm-hmm.
right? I'm happy with this,
Mm-hmm.
right? So switching to that, and then you stop the cycle of disempowering yourself.
Yeah, because if I say that, if I just go ahead with that background voice, just say it again,
Mm-hmm.
I'm reinforcing
Reinforcing.
a belief
Yeah.
that
Keeping it
could be
100%
completely false,
true.
or could be only partially true, or something like that, right? So, or only in certain circumstances it's true,
Mm-hmm.
but not if I tried it today, it would be fine, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
but if you say you can,
if I say I can't, then I'm reinforcing it. So if I say, well, I'm just going to be happy with what I'm eating here.
Mm-hmm.
At the very least, I'm not adding to that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm making it stronger, that negative belief.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot, and it's very powerful to be able to shift language to one that is that's empowering, to be like, I'm happy with this today, right? Great, celebrate that and enjoy that, right?
Yeah.
So and what that did was it allowed me, it lowered the volume of the background music, is what happened over time. And then I was able to get myself into the headspace where I'm ready to try more things. And then I was able to eat way more stuff, right? So it really did help.
It's like it was painful for me. It was like I felt the pain so much from your energy, like that. Like I cannot eat this. I have to.
Well, there was fear because because there were times when I would just be going about my daily life. I'd end up in so much pain. Is it because of the food, or is it because of something else? A lot of times it was something else.
Because of the fear.
It was because of fear. It was because of the situation I was in. It was because of the negativity I was engaging in. I picked up on a negative vibe somewhere, and I was letting that radio, that negative vibe play. And so of course I was making pain in my body, right? So there's so much more going on there than what people tend to think of. It's those words that we use are magic, right? It's like, the word spelling, right?
Yeah.
It has the word spell in it for a reason, right? And even Dumbledore has that saying. It's like words are our most inexhaustible source of magic, right? So
that is true.
It's actually true.
Yeah.
So that's an important one as well, for sure. Yeah.
So like let's summarize a little bit. So first step is pay attention to the background music and then catch yourself. Yeah, at the beginning you cannot catch yourself every time, but catch yourself starting from once, right? Catch yourself once, and step back, and then like I can't, right? And then you are saying I can't because it didn't happen in the past. I tried my best and it didn't go well. Well, I just don't have ability or all those we can have full of we can be full of excuses, right?
Yeah, and that's so there's a process to go through there that's careful, and we want to be very mindful how we go through that process. So we start being aware of that voice and the I can't, and then it's important to challenge it and ask, well, why can't I, right? Well, that voice, that subconscious programming is very quick and will tend to immediately provide an answer. It's like, oh, you're just not good at blank, right? Whatever that is, you're not good at that thing, right? Like I was saying about small talk. I was very in my head at one point. I couldn't socialize easily. So I told myself, I'm just no good at small talk, right? It was BS.
Yeah, but like if you hear that negative self-talk, and next question, you can just keep asking question, right? So I can't. Why can't I? And because I'm not good at
small talk. So
small
like
talk,
I can't socialize with that person, and I'd say I'd challenge myself, why can't I?
Right. So ask another question. Next question is who told you that? Who told you that you're not good at it?
That's a good one. Yeah.
Right? List who told you that. Maybe no one told you that. Maybe some did, right? But if you count, maybe the big chance it might be just you telling yourself, right? It could be your parents said that in the past, or some negative friend, right? If you list those who told you that you are not good at, and number one is you, I bet, right? Number 2 or 3, you might have 2 or 3 people. If you look at those people, probably they are not positive about anyone else either, right? They are negative about everybody. Oh, you can't do that. You can't. They are that negative self-talk machine, right? And if that's and you don't count those people, if they're always negative, their decision isn't valuable, right? Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So don't count those people's what they're saying about you. It doesn't count. And then the last one is, or first one is you. Then the whole rest of the world never told you that you can't, and why you are sticking to that the decision that you can't, right? So, and why? You can ask why. Because I'm scared. Because I'm scared. Because it didn't happen in the past. But doesn't mean that that's not going to happen this time. It's nobody is successful gold medalist from day one, right? We fall, we tumble, we get injured, and we get laughed at sometimes, and then we learn from those, and then we make progress, improvements. So this time, instead of what if I fail, what if somebody laugh at me, you can say, what if I succeed? What if I have fun? What if you can switch to that empowering what if. Because if you can say what if I fail, you can say what if I succeed,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Both works, right? There's no rule that you can't go that way, right? They might as well go this way and open the door a little bit by little bit and little more, little more, little more. Right? So that's something that you can do that can slow down your negative self-talk,
Mm-hmm.
right?
So I could share something about
Sure.
that adds to that. So another example. So I'm sharing different examples because the solution can be different in all these different situations. That's why we're bringing up multiple examples today. And when it comes to performance anxiety, right? Everybody probably has experienced that. And like we're doing karate, and I'm just starting out with karate, right? And so I'm facing like new challenges with this. I was so happy when I first started, so happy that I was able to do it, because something I'd always really wanted to do, but I was busy in the early part of my life, and then I got really sick, and then I couldn't do any exercise, even though I love exercise. I couldn't do it. So it was so as I started healing, I finally got able to do it again. Then I started doing karate this time. Then I was just, when I went to the first tournament, I was a white belt, right? I was just so happy. I was just so happy and grateful to be able to be there and compete and do it, right? Because I've been stuck, sick for so long. So, and then I had a different tournament later. And in that one, I got nervous. My legs started shaking when I was doing kata.
Yeah, because first one, you already won. Just participating.
Yes.
That was a success. Yes. That was your goal.
Yes.
And you just participated.
Because I didn't care about getting the medal or nothing, right? That's all I wanted to do was
winning wasn't like winning the match wasn't the goal. Putting your name into the entry seat, that was the goal. So you were like and then anything else didn't matter, right? So you were happy. Now you get greedy. everybody, like it's like I mentioned somewhere way back, like this feeling of failing or feeling of like a losing. It's actually is a proof that you have improved. You're not at 0 anymore. You are 1 or 2 or 3. So you have a chance to go down, right? That's why I get nervous. If you have nothing to lose, you're not gonna get nervous, right? So I'm saying greedy, but it's just
well, right. That's exactly right. So I was afraid of failure at that point, right? Because I wanted to get a medal at that point. so so that's why I thought about it, and I thought, like you're saying, listen to that background music, what's going on there, and ask yourself why. And I analyzed it, and I tried different things. Like I was trying, thought, well, maybe it's because the first tournament I did more practice ahead of time, and while I was waiting to go, I did practice in the hallway, and then when I came into the gym, I was just ready to go. That wasn't it. It wasn't because I came in more cold in the second one. It wasn't anything else. The psychology that made the difference was that I went on for a grading later, right? After the second tournament to get my orange belt. And I regained most of that experience that I had in the first tournament in the grading because I brought myself back into that space. I'm just grateful to be here. I have nothing to prove, nothing to lose. I'm just gonna enjoy doing my kata. I'm gonna enjoy doing my other routine, right? The rest of my routine. And because when you're doing that stuff, you're like, your sensei is there, everybody's there, it's all quiet, they're all watching, you're up there on your own. It's like being on the stage, right? So and it's a very intensive thing, right? Doing it exactly this way. But I regained a lot of that, and so I got back that same experience where I didn't get nervous because I was just enjoying. I was just grateful to be there. I took myself back into that same space. I got nothing to lose, right? So that there's that strategy works, and what else was I going to say about that? There was something more to it that connected to what you were saying earlier about how. What were you saying? You don't remember? I don't remember either. That's okay.
Where you make the connection.
I think people can make the connection on their own. But basically, if when we're afraid of failure, that means we're setting ourselves up for like we're like I might fail, I might not make it, right? All that kind of thing. Well, if you are just going into the situation and that's what it was. It was because you're saying you could choose to go with what if I succeed, right? Instead of what if I fail. So the reason why I brought this up is because the what if I fail, it's pretty easy for most people to connect to the fear and the intensity of the emotion of fear, right? So what if I succeed might kind of be just words versus the emotion of fear, and you might tend towards the emotion then, because the emotion is so strong, it carries all that energy.
Yeah.
So instead, what I've been doing is when I'm practicing at the dojo in general, I don't just do it when I'm going grading or just at a tournament now. Now I'm bringing myself into, I'm just grateful to be here while I'm training, and I'm enjoying myself. I'm getting so much fun. I'm just having fun, right? That's my thing. So I'm connecting to having fun while I'm doing my practice on a regular basis. So it's easy then for me to connect to that of, I'm grateful to be here. I'm just having fun, that enjoyment of the moment, of being in the moment. So I'm reinforcing that experience of the enjoyment. And so that has an even stronger pull for me than the fear of failure. So the emotional pull of the fun has, and the, well, I might succeed, then those words have more of an emotional weight to them. There's more power in them because the emotion's there.
It's like
there's a practice.
That is a practice,
there's a practice,
right? So that's the practice part. Yes, you can do that, but when it comes to the moment, what if I fail? That's it's all practice is all done, and you still have the negative self-talk. What if I fail? Then you can do what if I succeed.
Yes.
Right, you can do that.
So that then it has, the emotion is there. I can easily connect to that emotion because I've practiced with it.
And then it to me it neutralize that fear. What if I succeed? And then it pulls me out of, maybe not 100% for some people, but it pulls me out of what if I fail.
Yeah.
Like if I'm just saying it, right? It's just what weaken that fear, and then okay, maybe, right? You don't know, kind of thing, right? And then like for me, like when I perform for tournament, what I do, probably it's the same thing, but same as what you are saying, like enjoy the moment. But you feel this, like whole place becomes quiet, right? You go onto the floor, you go onto the mat, and quiet, right? And I used to get nervous about everybody's being quiet, that everybody's watching me, right? Because you can feel the eyes and everybody like this. And so, but now I switched. They're gonna watch me anyway, right? And instead of, oh, everybody's watching me, and I just go in there, everybody's quiet. Watch me. Watch me. I'm gonna perform and watch me, and don't take eyes off of me, right? And then just so it's like me ordering them instead of right. They're doing it.
So you're
to me.
you're
I'm
entering into
in
your
charge.
power because you're in charge.
Yeah.
You're commanding their attention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Watch me,
Yeah.
and just keep watching me till the end,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then it's just I'm not saying it's it turns 180 degree and then woo, right? But it really helps, and like I'm gaining a power back instead of right, losing a power. So everybody does it different way. You can find just your way of approaching, and it's a practice.
Well,
Whatever the way,
fun
it's a
for
practice.
you to
Yeah.
to be there and to be the center of attention and to command their focus and be in charge of that. That's fun. Right?
Yeah, not just for you're not saying just for me, right?
Yeah, for anybody. Well, but
Yeah.
and then that's just how you connect to it, right?
Yeah.
For me, it's the fun of just doing it, right? And I haven't worked on that.
I think the level of difference,
so
there's expectation difference. There's there too, right?
Well, with the black
like
belt,
a black belt and a white or yellow, orange belt. There's so that's why when I was white belt or something, I probably didn't have this watch me. Nobody watches white belt so much. So when I became black belt and this expectation and those kind of thing, and then pressure. So I'm just going, okay, if you're gonna watch me, right? That's when I kind of made a switch.
I just want to point out one thing quickly, and that's like when you're saying, what if I succeed? What if I fail? What if I succeed? That's very valid, and that can work in there somewhere. For me, like with I'm just having fun. It negates both of those because I'm not looking at outcomes. Right? I'm just having fun. Right? So that's a little bit. It's a different space, but
it's different approaches.
But related.
That's
they're all related.
Like everybody. So approach can be different, and you can just find different approaches that works for you. It's a practice, right? You probably can switch to here just trying once, right? It's a practice.
Well, the practice of connecting to the emotion on find the positive emotion that you can connect to.
And practice listening to the voice.
Yeah, and then practice with
practice.
that. Yeah.
So just be patient and just keep catching yourself and analyze yourself, examine yourself. It's self-discovery to move forward and to
And so basically, where there's a whole variety of approaches you can use with this. There's more that we didn't discuss here. That's a big subject. But hopefully you got the idea that just listening and inquiring and then trying something different, trying a different angle that, and let it come from your heart.
Yeah. Challenge yourself. Yeah. Challenge your negative self-talk instead of letting it play. Yeah. Don't push it away. I don't want to, right?
The fighting, we didn't emphasize that. Yeah. Fighting doesn't work, right?
Fighting doesn't work.
Fighting against the darkness doesn't work.
Fighting is ignoring and you're pushing it back and they're going to keep playing. Yeah. You want to listen. You want to listen the fear. Why they are saying it. They want to be heard, so you want to listen, right?
Yeah. Instead of fighting it, listen and see where it's coming from. And then find an answer that's coming that comes from your heart, that has the feeling that is empowering to you, rather than the one that's based on fear. And then there's a pathway in there for you, right? So yeah, but still, I mean, these things are practices, right? And if you're still having trouble with it, right? If it's not working, even though you're doing this to your best of your ability, that would be because there's a subconscious program that's at work, that's pretty ingrained, and it's got a lot of energy to it, and it's pulling you towards it. You may or may not be aware of the character of it, right? And but it's invading and being part of the picture. And but you can get past that if you want to just come to our website and schedule a free live breakthrough session. Then and just go to that URL on the screen there. We can talk to you about the situation and offer you a program that will help you get past that, because it can be changed, right? And also you can just look into the nature of what you're up against with a reading from Satomi. With that, thank you so much for joining us here today, and we'll see you next week right here on Ether, Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern.
Are you available? That might be just me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see.
Oh, you have some other stuff.
Oh, for me next week?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I do have a thing. You'll be heard next week. Anyway,
Okay.
thanks so much, you guys. Bless you. Take care.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.